Good evening to those who listen. It's November 22nd, 2024, 6:21 p.m. This is a lot of encouragement. This is a lot of thanks and gratefulness. I'm hoping that I can make it through this without crying too much, but just thinking about how I'm going to put this together has already been making me cry. So, all right, let me go into some things here. So, Steve Lummer, he used to be my youth pastor back in the early 80s at Westside Church. Early 80s. Now, started going back to Westside the last couple months. This is my home church. Sorry, there might be a lot of pauses in here. So back in 75, 76, Westside Church, they used to have a bus ministry, and they used to, go around the city, Davenport, Iowa, and they used to also go to surrounding areas, and they used to drive all the way out to LeClaire, which is like another 15, 20 minutes, and they would pick us up on Sundays and, take us to church and then back home too. So I thank my parents for allowing me to go, me and my sister. And I'm so thankful that the church, they cared enough to go and try to get people. And, they had a youth ministry, and they'd have all these purple buses that would go out and pick up kids for Sunday school on Sundays. And back then, it was Tommy Barnett was the pastor of the church. Oh my goodness, I don't think I'm going to be able to get through this. And I thank Tommy Barnett too, because he was such a loving man and a great man of God. And his kids at the time, back then, went to school, same school I did, the Christian school. Luke was a year younger than me, and I think Christy was a year younger than me, and Matthew was a few grades. He was younger, a lot. I'm not sure how much younger. Now Luke is now Pastor Barnett. He left Westside in '79 and went to Arizona, where he's now has a huge church in Phoenix, Arizona. His son, Luke, is co-pastor. Or I think he's now the head pastor, and then Tommy Barnett's the co-pastor now. He's getting up there in age. But I'm hoping this won't be too long of a video, but it's kind of a testimony too. So, thanks to Westside, and thanks to my parents, and thanks to the bus ministry, I was able to go to church and learn about God. And in April of 1978 is when I accepted Jesus into my life for the first time. And then I really thank my parents for sending us to me and my sister to Westside Christian School. We were the first ones into that school. I mean, not just me and my sister, but the other. It was the first year, 1978, was when we first started, and I don't remember the grades, but I think it went from like, I don't know, first grade to like 8th grade, and then they expanded maybe 7th grade, and then they added up to 8th grade, and then most people left once they hit 9th grade and went to high school. 9th grade back then was freshman, or 10th grade was sophomore, 9th grade was freshman, but we'd stay until 9th, and then 10th grade back then in the day high school, in our area at least, only had 3 grades, 10th, 11th, and 12th. So I went from 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th grade, so 4 years at Christian school, at Westside Christian. And what a blessing it was. I learned so much, you know, and it got us out of the public schools where I was being bullied a little bit in the public schools. And there's lots of reasons for it. I had these weird allergies that, and I don't want to go into too much about it, but I had allergies so bad that my eyes would like seal shut. And when I woke up in the morning, I couldn't open my eyes, and it would burn so bad, it would take hours. I'd have to put a rag, cold rag on my face, and like it would finally loosen it up so I could open my eyes, but it burned so bad for hours. I missed a lot of school, and I was always late for school, and kids used to always pick on me because of that, and I thought I was weird and stuff like that. Anyway, but we went to the private schools, and we learned so much, not just, you know, the regular subjects that, you know, normal schools would have, but we also learned about the Bible. We had a whole class set aside just for learning the Bible. And after Tommy Barnett left, the Stevens came in. I can't remember the preacher, I can't remember his first name, but his wife, June, would teach the Bible class. And I just remember, you know, learning so much from her and from, you know, about the Bible. And she made us memorize Hebrews 11 all the way through. And we would have to all get up in front of the class and recite the whole chapter. And now, you know, Hebrews 11, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Verse 2, for by it the elders obtained a good report. After that, I can't remember. But I do still, to this day, remember those 2 verses. So, gosh, this is going to be long. I'm sorry. But West Side, you know, I went to West Side from 76, maybe even part of 75, all the way through 1984 when we moved to Florida. And then in Florida, I went to church for 84, 85, and 86 at Calvary in Orlando, Calvary Church. And after that, I kind of backslid. I never, ever gave up on God. I always prayed every day, even though I wasn't going to church no more and wasn't living, you know, the godly life. So, all right, so I don't want to go on too much about that. I needed to have a little story, you know, before to explain what was going on. Now, I was saved April of 1978. Steve Lummer he said in his sermon that he was saved August of 1978. I am not sure when he started being the youth pastor, but I know for sure he was definitely the youth pastor in the early 80s. And we used to have a get-together on Monday nights. And it was called The Hangar. And we'd all hang out there. And, you know, they had snacks and drinks and, you know, and foosball table. I think there was a pool table too. And then, you know, people would hang out, and then we would have a little service. We had a band, and it was a rock band, and they were called the Monday Night Band, and I remember that, and it's just so many good memories from back then. And Steve Lummer and Bill Wilson were youth pastors, and they, you know, shaped everybody's lives, and I thank them so much for being who they were, and just, you know, being, you know, believers and loving God, and just sharing that with everybody. And it helped, because going through those teenage years, you know, you're going to have a lot of rebellion and stuff in your life, but they kept me grounded. And I just was so thankful that I went through that, at least for that 4-year period then. And I'm trying to remember, because I used to be in, we used to have leagues for volleyball and for basketball. And I can't remember if he played in volleyball or basketball. I know Bill Wilson, he played basketball. He was pretty good. Sorry, this is long. I'm sorry, but it's really good stuff. I might make this into a part 2. And I'm sorry that it's so long, but it's really good stuff. And if you wait for part 2, I hope that you will be encouraged and blessed from it. It's going to talk about the Bema seat, and this is all leading up to that. Trust me, I'm sorry that, I'm going, but there's a story all behind it. And you'll see in the next part. So what it leads to, I'm not sure if Steve Lummer remembers me or not. I certainly remember him. So it's going to all come full circle, and you'll hear about it in part 2. The Bema seat and his story, and I'll just kind of explain it a little bit in the next part. And if you want, I'll leave the link for this sermon that he teaches. But I'll just try to break it down, in a short video. I mean, it's not too short, but I'm sorry. Try not to make these long, but people lose interest. But it's important to me, and I hope it encourages you and blesses you. So it's like a full circle thing. He talks about this guy that was in his youth service that he forgot about, and he wound up going on, and Steve Lummer was a important part of his life too. You'll see what I'm talking about. And it all comes around how we don't realize how we affect people's lives. And when we share God's word and God's love with people, you might forget about it, but God doesn't forget about it. And that's what the Bema seat is going to be all about. Showing, what we did on earth in following Jesus and doing, and sharing his love and salvation with everybody. And in the end, we'll see when we're at the Bema seat, we will be judged for all the good and the bad, but the bad is not going to be there because we're already forgiven. And the Bema seat is the judgment for the Christians, for the true believers. And I'm going to stop here, but the next part, I hope it really blesses you and you get encouragement from it, because everything that we're doing down here on earth right now, all for the glory of God, we will be rewarded for. So keep up the good fight. Keep, sharing the love of God and his salvation with everybody while you can. We don't have much time left. And it's not just, for our rewards, but it's also to help others too. And you'll see in this next part. Thanks for watching. I love you guys. Stay tuned for part 2.